Get set, podcast listener, and be ready to win with your mentor, motivator, and marketer, Cam Roberts. Grow your business and achieve your goals quickly with the latest tips, tools, and tactics on business success and marketing. Subscribe now and download your free resources at camroberts.com.au.
Hey everyone, Cam Roberts here, your friend in business, success and marketing. Thank you for joining me on another podcast show. Now, on this episode, I'm joined with a very special guest, Mike Filsaime. And Mike is the CEO of GrooveDigital, LLC, which is the fastest growing software platform for digital and e-commerce marketers. He's an author, speaker, software developer, online marketing educator, and marketing consultant. And Mike was responsible for a number of well-known classic software platforms such as WebinarJam, EverWebinar, Kartra, DealGuardian, Butterfly Marketing, EvergreenBusinessSystem, and PayDotCom. He has since sold many of these businesses and brands. Mike, thank you very much for coming on the podcast show.
Thank you so much for having me, Cameron. I'm excited today.
Now, Mike, you know, that intro was probably very conservative. You're actually royalty in the internet marketing space and a legend. You know, when you look up your name on the internet, it talks about you being a legend in the internet marketing space. So, look, how did you get into internet marketing and where did it all start with you?
It started back in 1983. When I'm on the cusp of two generations. So my brother is the end of the baby boom and he graduated in 1983. So his high school years was, you know, Saturday Night Fever and disco and 79, 80, 81, 82. And for me, I was 81, 82, 83, 84, started year and graduated in 85. So what happens is right in 1983, you get a kid like me that likes Intellivision and the Atari 5200 and 2600. And the next gaming system comes out and it's the Apple II and the Commodore 64. I got the Commodore 64. And in order to launch those games, you had to write codes in basic programming. I didn't even think I knew that it was back then. But then it came with a book. And in this book are these things called if, then, for, next loops and all this. And I start writing around these little programs. Next thing I do is I write a program for my dad because he used to fall asleep marking his lottery tickets. They didn't check it for you at the supermarket back then. So I went to place an ad in a magazine for this. And the person that runs the magazine happened to be taking the call, Lottery Players magazine. He said, Mike, not Mike. He said, are you telling me that you have a computer software that, and it sounded great. Like back then there were two softwares. It was not even Microsoft. They had DOS. It was WordPerfect.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Lotus 1-2-3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And recipes, right? So here's somebody saying that they've got a computer software program that instantly checks lottery tickets in 40 states. So he asked to buy the software from me. My father negotiated for $25,000. And my guidance counselors told me, go to New York Institute of Technology. And I did. But back then, now we call ourselves geeks and geeks are cool. But back then I was a nerd and you didn't want to tell people that, you know, you were doing computers and stuff. So after 3 years there, I got engaged and I was working part-time at a supermarket and I had to drop out of college to go start selling cars. So I was 14 years in the car business. And as that happened, the internet came out in the, in the 90s. And then suddenly in 2002, I said, okay, I can take what I know about, about online. I was in love with this stuff. And I was one of the first people to say, hey, I'm going to crack this code online. And that's how I got online. While I was in the car business running the second largest Hyundai dealership in the country, I was starting my online career in 2002.
Excellent. That's amazing. And I know that when I read your intro, there was a term there called butterfly marketing. I'd like you to just exaggerate on that or just expand on that a little bit more. But more interestingly, you were telling me before we started the show this morning that you were the second person to do $1 million launch in only 4 days in history using this butterfly marketing technique or process. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'll touch on both of those for you. So back in 2004, there was a marketer, John Reese, that was just sitting up at night and he couldn't believe the fact that if he just got 1,000 people to buy a $1,000 product, he could make $1 million. And he was obsessed with this idea. And he says, everybody's selling products for $47. What if I sell a course called Traffic Secrets for $997? And I know everybody in the industry. And he sent the course to about 80 different people. And he asked all of them to promote all on this one day. And he ended up selling just over 1,000 by the time midnight struck. And he was the first person to do 1,000 in a day. And 1,000 sales of $1,000, so $1 million in a day. And this was at a time that if you were making 75,000 a year online, everybody wanted to know what you were doing. So talk about like that paradigm shift. Yeah. So before that, the most money ever made in a day was 70,000. So John wrote a report on it. It was entitled "One Man, One Product, 1 Million in One Day." And in there, he spoke about it like Roger Bannister breaking the 4-minute mile. He said, it's never been done before, but I believe it's going to be done after this over and over and over again. And so he challenged people to go have their $1 million day. I read that report August 31st of 2004. August 31st of 2004, I registered the domain name Butterfly Marketing. And I said, this is going to be my $1 million day. And it was until January 31st of 2006, not 2005. It was a year and a half later that I was the second person ever to do a $1 million launch. It took me 4 days to do it. And then, and I always say how, instrumental that was in my career, because if you look at everybody that's walked on the moon, and I've asked people this, I don't think there's ever been anybody that ever told me the third or anybody after. We all know it was Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, right. But the highest televised thing in human history. And then by the time they did the last Apollo, they didn't even televise it. So John being first and me being second, I got an echo effect on that for a long time. Yeah. And I basically followed Jeff Walker's product launch formula. He was just releasing it. Jeff was the third person to do it. And now it's commonplace in the industry. And I think the other thing, talking about what you like to talk about, which I think I agree with you, it's so important, is branding, is I knew that my course was going to be on viral marketing. I knew that every single marketer looks at every customer like, okay, I have a product. So in front of the product, I have lead generation, warm that lead up, they buy my product, they hit a thank you page. Okay, let's go find another customer. And I simply said, wait, there's just one little step that we can do on our thank you page. And that's we can instantly turn that customer into an affiliate with a process. Don't even make them sign up. And when they're fulfilling, say, hey, I know you want to go download this ebook, but right here is a link. And did you know that you can, and I trained every customer to become an affiliate. Well, and essentially that's viral marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? There are terms like guerrilla marketing and, different terms. And I said, I don't want to take something that's in the dictionary. I want to take something and make it mine, like guerrilla marketing might be somebody's. I said, I want to turn viral marketing into butterfly marketing. And right. So I took viral marketing and I codified it into a step-by-step system. But essentially, to this day, coming over 15 years later, people still see me and they go, hey, Mr. Butterfly. And I think that's a testament to the branding as opposed to just another viral marketing product.
Yeah, that's gold. I'm going to put you on the hot seat a little bit, Mike, and ask you, what are one or two really important things to doing $1 million launch? You spoke about, those people, including yourself, that have done it very quickly in the early adapters. But in your experience, what are one or two really, important keys to the process of having $1 million launch?
I think that the two things are essentially the influence network, and if it's going to be Star Wars, right? Like when they first came out with what was the first one? The Force Awakens, right?
Yeah.
The last trilogy.
Yep.
They started marketing that a year and a half, early. So you have to create anticipation in the marketing. You can't just show up one day. Like you're never going to drive down the road and go, oh my God, when did they come out with a new Star Wars? Yeah. So the goal is to get people lined up around the block and camping out like they do with the iPhones, and then find the way to make the anticipation part of the marketing, right? Getting the news media to say, people are camped out now 3 days waiting for their new iPhone.
Yeah, right.
And so anticipation marketing is number one. And number two is networking, tapping into the influences in your industry. What John Reese realized is if I can have 1,000 people buy my product, the one thing that he realized is he didn't need to go find those 1,000 people. He needed to find 80 people who each could get him 15 or so sales. out of their list of thousands of people. And so going out to different networking events and making good relations with the other influencers in your industry. Don't look at them as your competitors. You know, the rising tides rise all boats. You have to look at it that way. And in the digital marketing industry, the way I've seen it is people are very abundant mentality, and being able to do joint ventures is something that can really just take it over the top.
Excellent. And I know you've worked with a lot of marketers and, you know, people in the e-commerce space, as per your intro. What are some of the mistakes that you see people make that holds them back from being successful at internet marketing?
This one is so easy. I don't think anybody's going to take notes on it, but I want them at least to take heed on what I'm saying, because there's not much to write down here. There have been, you know, things that we hear in the Napoleon Hills and all these things. These are true fundamentals of business. So the one that I want to go to is plan your work and work your plan. It's that simple. People ask the wrong questions sometimes. They say, Mike, what's the fastest way to make money? And I said, well, get a gun and go rob a bank. That's not really the right question. The right question is, what is the value that you want to provide? Because your income is going to be based on the amount of value that you provide multiplied by the amount of people that you could reach. So if you have a passion and expertise, I can guarantee you there's a community of people willing to pay for it. So the first thing that somebody needs to do is just say, okay, if I want to create that product, like I see Russell Brunson do, or Brendan Bouchard, or Grant Cardone, what would I need to do? And get that legal pad out or a whiteboard and just write everything that you need. Like, I didn't go out and buy the domain name Butterfly Marketing on the last day, right? I just wrote all these things down and I said, okay, I'll figure it out. I need to create a product. I'll need a web page, a video sales letter, whatever it might be. Once that's done, prioritize that. Put the domain name right up front, because if you can't get the domain, you don't want to name your course or book that. And then you go all the way down, get your merchant account, et cetera, et cetera. And then to answer your question, the biggest mistake people make is they get shiny object syndrome. So what I can show you a dozen different ways to make money online. If you try all 12, you'll fail. If you try 3 of the 12, you'll fail. If you do 1, it'll make you a millionaire. So the discipline is to be able to say, if I plan my work and simply just work this plan, the pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow. So when the next course that comes out, and it's for Shopify or affiliate marketing or SEO or whatever it may be, that is totally okay. And welcome that from the people that are promoting to you. But it's your job as an entrepreneur to ask just one question. Does buying this product accelerate my plan? Does it make it easier for me to obtain, more affordable, or more effective? And if the answer is yes, then you buy that product and you're quicker to gold. If that purchase takes you away from that plan, well, then you're just, what I like to say, you've got a spinning plate right here and you're just loading up another spinning plate. And as you start putting all these spinning plates, like you used to see on stage, they always crash. They always crash.
Absolutely.
So it's focus on that one game plan and have the discipline to not get excited by the next big thing.
Excellent. That's really gold information there you've shared with us. Really appreciate that, Mike. Another question I want to ask you is around products. So when you discipline yourself, you pick the right, the right niche or the right thing, whatever it is. How do you know that you're creating a product that's going to be a winner? You've done this many times. Like, how do you know that you've got a product that people even want?
That's a great question. Usually what I'm doing is I'm either converging to technologies that already exist, or I'm just improving upon something.
Right.
I've always had this philosophy that try to find an industry where there's a Coke without a Pepsi. So one of the reasons why our first product was GrooveCart is because I saw Shopify and nobody else. And I always say, if Shopify is going to be the Coke, let me try to be the Pepsi. But if I become the Dr. Pepper, that's okay.
Yeah.
When I saw ClickBank, I saw they did a lot of cool things, but you had to wait for your money. And I said, what if I create a ClickBank style marketplace that just uses your PayPal account and you get paid instantly? So I created PayDotCom. Now, guess what? ClickBank was the Coke, and I was, a Dr. Pepper for sure. But that Dr. Pepper was making me $8,000 a day, and I sold it for $4 million. So always go with the food court mentality. don't ever say, well, I'm not going to go into that niche because there's too much competition. I'm going to say, go where the competition is. If there's a Cinnabon and a Sbarro's and a BurgerFi and all these different places, well, then put your taco place right there. That's where all the action is. Don't say, well, there's already a food court there. Who needs another restaurant? So you can't look at it that way.
Yeah, that's really good. And you mentioned GrooveCart, and that kind of leads me into my next question about GrooveDigital. Since then, you've expanded your software and your services. So can we touch on, like, what is GrooveDigital, what is Groove, and how does it help people achieve, their goals of their own successful launches?
Yeah, so GrooveDigital is more like an umbrella parent company for our different platforms. But essentially, the two big companies is GroovePay, and that's a merchant processing company that, it's kind of like a Stripe. We help you get a merchant account and things like that. And then our other big product is Groove.cm, and it's .cm because customers matter. But we say that, but the truth was we couldn't get the .com, right? So that's another thing on branding, right? Is the .com, the folks wouldn't sell it for 5 million, and we weren't buying it for 5 million, but they said they already turned that. And so we went with the .cm, and we said, hey, we could turn that, we could use the disadvantage into our branding. And we said Groove.cm because customers matter. And once we say that, people remember that.
And they remember the CM. They remember the CM every single time now.
Every time.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I remember there was a dial a mattress. It's 1-800-MATTRES and leave RESS and leave the last S off for savings. They used to say. So they turned that into the same. And I think for your listeners, Cameron, we have a URL that's a little special for them. That's called Groove Podcasts with an S, podcast plural, GroovePodcasts.com if they're interested, because it's a free platform. They can sign up for free. And so, with Groove. I remember our first cart when I came into the company. The cart was in development, and I wanted to look at it. I'm vetting it. It looked really good. It needed some user interface things, but the biggest thing I said we're going to need to change the name because Ultra Fun Cart is not a great name. They're like, no, I think that's a great. I said, too many syllables. It's
that's right.
And it doesn't allow us to grow.
Yeah.
And so I said, give me a couple of days. And he said, why? You really don't like it? And now I was looking for names like cherry, lemon, like you name it, like anything that I could, like MailChimp, like those little types of things.
Exactly.
And I couldn't find anything. And then I found GrooveCart was available, and I called up Matt and John. I remember Matt's words to me was, what does that mean? I said, it doesn't have to mean anything. Groove is just cool. And the other thing that was important, Cameron, is when I looked at that, I was looking down the road, and Groove Mail was available, Groove Sell, Groove Affiliate, Groove Member, all of these different things. And I said, I said, if back then didn't know if we were going to get there. I said, but if we ever get there, I can just attach this thing to Groove. And the nice thing about Groove is it's not like blinds.com or liquor.com where you got to sell blinds or liquor. Groove can mean anything. And, in terms of a brand, enough, I wear it on my shirt, here like that. And it's just Groove.
Yeah, I love that. And it's really important in branding. A lot of people make the mistake of overcomplicating their brand. And you made a couple of really important distinctions. And you even talked about some movies before. Like, when they create movies, people remember Jaws. It's like one word, Jaws, right? They remember Star Wars, right? And it's those movies that are iconic, and they remember the names because they're simple, they're easy, they stick. So Groove, I love it. It's a great name. Let's dive into it a little bit more. Like, what does it do and how does it really help people?
So being online now for almost 20 years, I've seen the evolution of products, and I have to say they're all good. The leaders in the industry, the ClickFunnels, the Active Campaigns, the Kajabis, Wistia, you name it, a Tap Affiliate, whatever it may be, they're all good. The underlying problem is not only do they come with a cost, and you need about, at least 12 of these tools to run your business. We have 18 apps in total, but they're not meant to work with each other. And so you're trying to get this company to talk to this company, and they're saying, yeah, it's on our timeline. So you have to go to Zapier, and then they do an update. You don't even realize that your funnel that you put live a year ago, they haven't looked at, the opt-in's no longer working because there was a change back there. And so Groove wanted to do a couple of things, and we wanted to be unapologetic about it. We said, we're going to create the apps, but each app standalone would have to be the best competitor in its field if it was just that. So if we're going to create Groove Member, we have to say to ourselves, this is a better product than Kajabi, and we have to believe it in our heart, and we have to want to use it over our business over the competitor. We wanted to create Groove Funnels to be a better ClickFunnels. We wanted Groove Pages to be a better Wix, Squarespace, or WordPress. Groove Video would be a better Wistia or Vimeo. And we have Groove Sell, so you don't need like Infusionsoft or Samcart or ThriveCart or PayKickstart. By the way, all great products, right? They do what they're supposed to do well. But we have GrooveCart, which replaces Shopify, and we say, and we even wanted to get people completely off of WordPress, because I'm a technical guy, like maybe one of the most I've ever seen. I was doing a video shoot today. The video guys were like, Mike, how do you know all about this? And I'm asking them about latest cameras. When it comes to putting a WordPress blog in, I don't think my butt twinges about that more than anything in the world. That's what worries me. And then I go to Theme Forest. I find this great theme, and I'm like, oh, I want that, and I install it. And I'm like, how do I change the slider or the footer and everything? So we wanted people to be able to be online in 4 different places. Their brand website, their funnels, their e-commerce store, so they can have merchandise, which helps for branding. And number 4, their blogging and detach from WordPress. And by doing that, we've created a software platform, first of all, that's free. It's so free that 93% of our users never pay us because we give away the farm, kind of like Gmail. 7% of our customers, upgrade. We have some pro features, and people love us. We have a Facebook community of 150,000 users. We have 750,000 users on the platform in just the first 2 years, and we're excited. We love the company.
Excellent. And where do you see the company going? Like, you've got a few different elements of the company, and you've got, that 93% of people use it for free and 7% of your premium users. Where do you see that going and being used in the next 2-3 years?
We're looking to build a unicorn. And if that was 5 years ago, I wouldn't even believe it myself, Cameron. Right. But I've seen friends that I've grown up with in the industry. My former partner who passed away, Andy Jenkins, he was actually the founder, or I shouldn't say that, co-founder with Travis and Kenny of Kajabi, right from day one on the original mast of the company. He left after 6 months for whatever reason. Kajabi just raised $580 million on a $2 billion valuation. I know the owners of Active Campaign. They just raised money on a $3 billion valuation. Russell Brunson just turned down, according to him, and I believe him, at Funnel Hacking Live, he said that they were offered $1 billion, and he turned it down because he believes it can be more. I built Kartra. I saw that company, and Groove is a better version of Kartra, quite frankly. And I know what we were going to do with that. Andy and I just didn't see eye to eye. But we also built WebinarJam, which is the second largest webinar platform in the world today. And we built EverWebinar, which today is the largest automated webinar platform on the planet. So I've kind of been there before. I know if I can build the second largest or the largest, and I see my friends in the industry building billion-dollar brands. Our goal with Groove is to build a brand like that. And I commend Russell because I see it the same way. I am not built to flip. This is built to last. And if somebody was to come along with $1 billion, truth is, all my friends say, yeah, you say that until you see it. And they may be right. But my goal is to wear my little black shirt every day that says Groove, be the Steve Jobs of my company. I'm literally just 2 years younger than he was when he passed away. And he had all that pride of walking in and talking to Johnny Ive or talking to the team, say, what's this Siri thing? Demo it for me. And you think that there's any money in the world that you could have said to Steve, we want to buy Apple from you? Wasn't going to happen. That's the love that I have for the Groove platform. And when I sold my previous company, Kartra, WebinarJam, and EverWebinar, I had a 2-year non-compete. So for those 2 years, I was making good money in my buyout, and I wasn't allowed to work. Most miserable days of my life. I learned right there that having money and no purpose that's not for me. So
Yep.
I love what we do with Groove. We're passionate about it. So I'm going to be the leader of this thing. I'll take it all the way to the grave with me.
Excellent. And I'm going to put you on a hot seat again and ask you, like, you've spoken very passionately about your product and your company and brand Groove, and some of the other competitors, the Kajabi's, the Active Campaigns, the Wistias and things like that. Like, how do you make sure that the quality is there? Because these days, it seems like, the tech options are a dime a dozen. So what makes Groove different, and what makes them stand out and be better for people, to use just that one platform?
I think there's a couple of things that make us different. And since it's your question, right, and you're putting me on the spot, I'm going to go out with the clause here, right? But understand, when I say this, I'm talking about the brands and not the people that run them.
Of course.
We see each other all the time and we're friends, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if I'm Magic Johnson and the Lakers and you're Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons, last week I told you I'm your mentor, today this is the championship. I'm going to beat you in game 7, no matter what. So we have to take our business the same way. So I look at our main competitor, and everybody knows who that is, right?
Yeah, of course.
I look at them as a marketing company.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's anything they should be ashamed of. I think Russell is not only one of the best marketers, he's also one of the best teachers of marketing. I think the difference between them and us is that they are a marketing company that wants to help you with your technology. We are a technology company that wants to help you with your marketing. And that's a major difference.
A major shift. Yeah.
Right.
That's really good. Yeah.
So when a marketing company wakes up every day, and they say, how can we get more money out of our customers? And in some ways, I feel like their software is a tripwire to the next product in your feed, and buy this and come here, 25K to come on, all these different things. And that's okay. That's a Dan Kennedy model. And we do it a little bit too, but it's not our driving philosophy. When we look at a consumer, not a trick question, and you say, you're going to be running your business, you need to run it on world-class technology. Do you want to buy it from a technology company or a marketing company? Not a trick question. You want it from a technology company. I went to New York Institute of Technology. I studied computer science. I wrote computer programs. I've created Butterfly Marketing, which was software, the EvergreenBusinessSystem, Kartra, WebinarJam, EverWebinar, PayDotCom, DealGuardian. Everything I've ever done online is software. So my philosophy is that you start with the user interface. We have 4 UI UX people that cost us over $35,000 a month in the company. And we built everything with user interface platforms. And then we just program around it, where I think everybody else says, hey, that's a good idea. They code it and they go, where do we want to put it? Just stick it in the drop down. And what starts out as a very simple landing page platform, suddenly you're looking at it, and you're lucky that you were there from the beginning because you know how to use it. But a new customer goes onto those platforms and they don't know where to start. Anybody that logs into Groove, they can go in and they can see, this is easy. I can run my business and not be intimidated. Yeah,
that's really good. And Mike, last question for you, and I know you want to share it with everyone. You've got a very special offer coming up with Groove, some sort of lifetime membership or something like that. Can you unpack that for us, please?
Sure, Cameron. So, when I sold my previous company, I don't want anybody to have any delusions or allude to anything that I said, I'm going to go out and create this new company again. I sold my company, my developers that I had in Romania for 15 years, every person I knew, and now I'm by myself. And I had to go look and find what I was going to do. Luckily, I found Matt and John. They were working on this project, but they needed a branding guy like me. And I came in, and the second we did our first million with GrooveCart, I remember John saying, are we going to take a distribution? And I said, no, we're going to build out a software platform. And I was going to build one product. It was going to be called Groove Pages. I was going to concede to my previous company and ClickFunnels and say, you know what, if we can just have a company that we sell for $497 a year, maybe we'll get a few thousand customers and we'll have some good recurring income. And so what we did is we did a fundraiser, like a Kickstarter like project, but we didn't use Kickstarter. But we basically said, hey, if you pledge 497 at the time, we'll give you Groove pages for life. We thought we'd raise $250,000 to develop it. We ended up raising $2 million. Wow, when that happened, it shifted again, right? John saying, hey, are we going to take a distribution? I said, no, we're going to hire the world's best team. And then at that point, we changed it to a lifetime deal that's still available to this day. And in May of 2019, we said, help us build a platform like a Kickstarter. Here's the deal. You pledge to us to $19.97 or 3 payments of $6.99, and we will reward you with not only helping us build this platform, beta tested platform as it comes out, but you'll own it for life. You'll never pay us or anyone else ever again to run your online business. The thing is we came out in April of 2020, a year later, and everybody was excited, but the truth is it had some bugs. And we thought that by April of 2021, we'll have it all figured out. And we were about 80% there, but then we're making money. So we said, hey, let's add more features and more features and more features. So keep helping us fund it. Lifetime deal, lifetime deal. It's finally come to the end of the quote unquote Kickstarter. We have raised over $70 million, so far. We did 35 million last year alone in the company, and we put it all into the development. So on February 23rd, we wake up to a recurring plan of $299 a month. But between now and midnight, February 22nd, if they go to Groove Podcast, that's podcast with an S, .com, they will see an opportunity to get it for free. And if they want, they could upgrade to the lifetime to what we call the platinum account. And they are still considered a backer or a charter member of Groove, and they'll never pay again. And so we've had this open. So we're kind of going now on the rooftops and screaming, hey, the lifetime deal is ending. Pay us 3 payments of $6.99 or pay us $2.99 from now until the end of time, which is still a good deal compared to paying 18 other apps. But we're trying to get the word out right now to let people know that you can still become a backer, but all good things come to an end. And that's February 22nd.
Excellent. And we'll make sure we get those links on the show notes as well and in the description. So I really appreciate that. That's a very generous offer, Mike. And I encourage everyone to take part and grab that offer. It's going to be very exciting. And I'm almost across the line myself. I'm going to check it out myself. That's a really good offer. And I use all of the platforms that you spoke about today. So very interested in seeing what Groove's all about, and wish you all the best in your business, Mike.
Thank you so much, Cameron. And thank you to everyone listening.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show, Mike.